Everyone. You're welcome to today's program. Today is the third day of our virtual conference, and I believe we've all gained something because myself, I've gained so much today during these last 2 days, and I believe it is quite educative for every social workers and other professions joining us. I'd like to do on the very first day we had Dr. Plan, who presented a paper on caring for the aged during pandemic, as Dr. Chinga on board. But now we'd like to have our national anthem.
Oh God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know. In love and honesty to grow and live in just and truth. Great lofty heights attain to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Arise, O compatriot, Nigeria, call on thee to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation founded, freedom, peace and unity, peace and unity.
Thank you all.
Before Dr. Chinwe takes over the floor, Mr. Shonubi needs to talk about something for 5 minutes before Dr. Chinwe takes over for the presentation, please. Mr. Shonubi, are you there?
Okay.
Mr. Shonubi, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. I'm watching. I'm listening. I'm watching.
Okay.
Can we have your talk, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
The host, Mr. Lowo, should. Mr. Lowo, please.
On your video, sir. Yeah.
Okay, can I continue?
Continue, sir. Yeah.
Okay, once again, I want to seize this opportunity to welcome each and every one of us to another session of the conference. And today is the grand finale. Coincidentally, today marks the second day of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, particularly activities against violence that's taking place or that is taking place against girl, child, and against women. The United Nations has noted that when the lockdown, the pandemic started, there was a spike in gender-based violence. precisely violence against girls, ladies, and women all over the world. So in order to tackle this problem, and at the same time, while the UN is also trying to resolve the issue of the pandemic, it was decided by the United Nations that this Orange Day or Orange the World, which started yesterday, the 25th of November, all over the world, is a 16 days of activism by every one of us, especially social workers, those in the NGO sector, to embark on funding, responding, preventing, and collection of data and collection materials that would enhance the struggle, that will enhance the cause of fighting against gender-based violence. So like I said, it started yesterday, 25th of November, all over the world. It's going to end on the 10th of December. And the 15 days are meant to raise awareness all over the world. So we as social workers, in our own little room, we need to raise awareness against gender-based violence, particularly against the female sex. We need to raise it in all forms. If you have a pin, or you have a flyer, or you have a scarf that you can use, if it is orange, let's put on a color, a kind of semblance of orange color to signify Orange the World. And like I said, it's an international campaign, annual one for that matter. It started in 1991. But this year, the Secretary General of the United Nations has mandated that all activists should embark on that campaign so that we can have everybody in the whole world being campaigned for, that gender-based violence exists, and those that are the receiving end are the female ones. And so we should campaign against it wherever it's possible. Let's try as much as possible to raise funds to support those who have been the victims of the gender-based violence. And in that way, we'll try to eliminate gender-based violence in our society. Once again, please let's put that back of our mind. We'll continue after this conference to advocate against gender-based violence in our respective places of work, in our communities, in our homes, in our neighborhoods, and in our groups. Let's all join hands to campaign against it. So I would want us to continue with our conference with this at the back of our mind, and that we hope that we will surely attain success and minimally reduce the tendency for people to attack or to exploit or to want to be aggressive against the women. Thank you very much for this opportunity given me to speak about Orange the World. So I'll hand over to the moderator. You can continue now. Thanks a lot. Over to you, Mr. Olowo and Lamide.
Appreciate you, and we will also do our part concerning gender-based and social workers fighting gender-based violence in our community and Dr. Chinwe. Brief citation on Dr. Chinwe. Dr. Chinwe Nwana, PhD, is an associate professor in the Department of Social Work, Faculty of Social Science, University of Lagos. She has taught social work for over 2 decades. As a member As a member of both national and international professional associations and editorial boards of many social work journals, she has spoken in numerous social work fora. She is a recipient of several awards and grants for academic and research excellence. She has numerous research studies and publications in peer-reviewed and reputable journals and books to her credit. She is the recipient of several awards and grants for academic and research excellence. She has numerous research studies and publications in peer-reviewed and reputable journals and books to her credit.
Right.
I think that's a repetition. So help me welcome Dr. Chinwe Nwana. Ma, you're welcome today. We are glad to have you here with us.
Thank you.
And I believe everybody is excited as I am.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. I want to appreciate NASoW Lagos chapter, particularly the chairperson in the person of Mrs. Ogedengbe for her assiduous work, for her superlative leadership in this Lagos State. And I also want to appreciate the chairman of the planning committee, Mr. Mike Kennedy, and the other members of the planning committee. I'm actually humbled and glad to be one of the speakers in this inaugural virtual meeting, the conference for Lagos State chapter of NASoW. I'm proud to be one of you. Thank you very much for inviting me. So having said that, my topic is lockdown, unlocking antisocial behavior. Next slide. My name has been said. Now, the outline of the presentation, there are 7 items there. The introduction, what is the antisocial behavior, the characteristics, what are the causes, then what are those antisocial behaviors during the lockdown, and what caused them, the types of antisocial behavior unlocked during the lockdown, rules and the role of the social workers. Then finally, the conclusion. Now, introduction. Severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2, known as COVID-19, was identified in a city in China, Wuhan city in China, in December 2019. With the unprecedented spread and devastating effects on human population, globally, agents and national governments across the world tried to monitor and control the spread, and thereby protective measures were implemented, including lockdown. In Nigeria, the first index case was identified on the 27th February 2020, and subsequently, the exponential increase in the cases led to the partial and total lockdown of cities, particularly Lagos, closure of all schools, businesses, markets, government offices, they were all shut down in order to contain the spread. So all these drastic policies, including lockdown, had implications on the vulnerable groups. The lockdown unlocked many antisocial behaviors in certain people. Now, what is that social behavior? there is no acceptable definition of antisocial behavior because different cultures have their own definition. Because what is acceptable in this city, in this nation, in this town, may not be acceptable in another place. For instance, take for instance, same-sex sex or any other thing has been accepted abroad in some UK countries, but not in Nigeria yet. So whatever we regard as antisocial behavior, it depends on what we say is our standard, our norms. Therefore, any behavior that is contrary to prevailing norms of social conduct is labeled antisocial. It could be against the law, it could be against any human being, it could be against animals, it could be against whatever. As long as that society does not approve of it, it is antisocial. And therefore, Beggar 2003 defined it as an action that harms or lacks consideration for the well-being of others, or likely to cause harassment, alarm, or distress to one or more persons. Another set of scholars, Perkins and Cargill, 2009, defined it as any conduct that violates the basic rights of another person and any behavior that is considered to be destructive to others in society. The pattern of behavior that is verbally or physically harmful to other people, animals, or property, including behavior that severely violates social expectations for a particular environment is antisocial behavior. Now, the next slide. What are the characteristics? What can you see in a person? What can a person do? Or how can a person behave that you can now say that person has an anti or develops an antisocial behavior? One, anger, aggression, disobedience. And disobedience can be against parents, against any authority, against anything, against the law, lying, cheating, disruptive behavior. There are certain children who like to destroy everything. Whatever they lay their hands upon will be destroyed. Stealing, vandalism, promiscuity, excessive smoking, hostility towards authority. Next slide. Confrontations with parents, gambling, threatening or intimidating actions, verbal abuse, physical abuse, misuse of public space. For instance, at times, children will now come and block roads because they're playing football. And then when you now drive in and you want to drive past, you have to beg them to clear. It's an antisocial behavior. Then disregard for community safety, disregard for personal well-being, protests, alcohol offenses, and drunk driving. Next slide. Next slide. Now, what are the causes of all these antisocial behaviors in human beings? The first one is personal and individual factors. It has been proven that genetic, neurobiological, and environmental factors can predispose people to antisocial behavior. Genetic factors are those factors, genetic and neurobiological, are those factors that can occur in prenatal stage and early stage of a child's life or anybody's life. For instance, the genetic factor, we find out that it's abnormality in the frontal cortex of the brain of the child. Then the neurobiological factors are those drugs that mothers take or use during pregnancy. It can also be birth complications. It can also be low birth weight. It can also be brain damage. It can also be traumatic head injury or chronic illness. Then personality disorder, we have personality disorders too that cause antisocial behavior. We have conduct disorder, intellectual disorder. We have conduct disorder. All these are personal and individual factors. The second one is familial factors. That is, those factors within the family. Social interaction within the family and community can lead someone to develop antisocial behavior. For instance, parental history of antisocial behavior, because what we are saying here, it means then that antisocial behavior is learned, can be learned. Social learning theory has proved that. Alcohol and drug abuse by parents, psychiatric disorder of parents, especially mother's depression. I remember yesterday that there was a question to Ms. Titi. Somebody asked, does it mean that mental illness only people inherit it only from the mother? But her answer was not really. But here we can say that mother's depression can lead to antisocial behavior, because when a mother is depressed, most times she stays with the children, and maybe her own attitude, her own parental skills also can trigger off some antisocial behavior in the children. Then we also have conflict between parents, marital instability. It could lead to divorce or broken home or death of one of the parents. Studies have shown that children develop antisocial behavior due to broken home. And we know that most of the children in these correctional centers are from broken homes. Studies have proved that. We also have poor parenting skills, use of coercive and corporal punishments. Then separate economic distress due to poverty and unemployment can cause antisocial behavior within the family. Then peer influence. Of course, if a child moves around with peers that have antisocial behavior, the tendency is that that child will learn and imbibe that behavior. For instance, cultism. We now know that cultism is practiced in primary schools, secondary schools, and universities. Those days, it was only in the universities we used to hear about cultism, but these days, some of these children have imbibed that. And any other antisocial behavior that the group has as a culture, the members could adopt. Now, place of residence. Place of residence means where you live. It's either in urban center or in rural area. Studies have shown that people in urban center have the tendency to develop antisocial behavior, particularly in areas of overcrowded areas. Budgets, Ernest Budgets, in his theory of 5 concentric zones of a city, made mention of a particular area in transition. That's where many people with diverse population, socioeconomic background, ethnic background merge in that transition. That children or people living there have the tendency to develop antisocial behavior. Even children who do this normally have adult criminals as their model most times. Now, the next one is TV watching. Studies have proved that children who watch films, violent films, cartoons, movies, have the tendency to develop antisocial behavior. And the study has also shown that early adult conviction has a link or correlation with his watching TV as a child, just normal watching TV during the weekend as a child. The next slide. Now, during the lockdown, what are those antisocial behavior that we witnessed? The first one, let us discuss the causes. What are the causes of those behaviors? One, the lockdown restricted people within their homes. Many people did not plan for that. They did not have money. They did not stock food. And most of the Nigerian population, most of us are daily paid workers, laborers, artisans, small-scale business owners. So if they don't go out to work on daily basis, they will not have money to put food on the tables for their children. So that was the main problem. So when people now were forced to stay at home for a long time without food, without money, frustration set in, aggression, anger, impulsivity. And impulsivity means experience of an abnormally high level of frustration in daily life or routine of an individual, which results in aggression. And then when you now have a combination of aggression and impulsivity, you now have obstruction in how people now interact and relate with one another, and the person may not be able to do what, achieve his or her goal in a day, and that will do what? There will be more aggression, anger, hostility. So all these precarious situations now led to antisocial behavior amongst people during the lockdown. The next slide. So what are the types of antisocial behavior unlocked during the lockdown? First, we have the physical child abuse. In fact, reports show that there was a 10% increase in physical child abuse in Nigeria. An organization just reported that in March alone, in this 2020, they received 13 calls per day, 13 calls per day, people reporting child abuse to them. Then the overcrowded housing, as members of the family have come back, all of them. So you can imagine a family living in one room or in the rooming setting, rooming houses. What I mean by rooming houses are these areas they say, face me, I face you. A family of 5 can live in one room, or a family of 10 can live in one room. And then, you have some of them story buildings. Some of them may have up to 50 rooms living by. So you can imagine that kind of thing, crowded areas. So, and living in such cases, particularly in a family, some people who lived outside came back home to stay with the family, all of them live in that condition. Some of them now may have tendency to abuse children. And of course, there was also physical, mental, emotional, sexual abuse on children, child labor during this lockdown. And children were neglected. Most of them, some of them were left hungry by their parents, some of them were abandoned. There's another place where I will talk about some parents selling their children just one of their children just to be able to feed the rest of the family. So children also suffered harassment, intimidation, threatening behavior, and they were all rampant. And what was that? Particularly house helps. When the madams will tell them, ah, if you do this, I will drive you away, I will take you home, and you know your parents cannot even afford this kind of thing you are enjoying here, and therefore, so how you can imagine that kind of a child being harassed emotionally and whatnot. So the next one is sexual violence. Oh my God. Sexual violence increased. In fact, it was reported that 3,600 cases were reported during the lockdown. The report put it in this way that 100 cases per state, that is 36 states. They didn't include Abuja. You can imagine the extent of sexual violence during the period. Now, and why was this? There was abusive tendency. People with abusive tendencies were locked in the same, together with innocent ones. And that resulted in escalation of incidents of rape, domestic violence, and partner abuse in particular. Incest was also common or rampant. We had, during the lockdown, we saw so many videos, we heard so many stories from social media where brothers abused, molested, defied children as young as 3 months, 2 months, 2 years, 18 months. Jesus. And then there was also cases of gang rape and murder. A case in point was the one in Akindele area in Oyo State. It was reported that this house was in an isolated area, and the girl was alone in the house. Nobody was in the house. Must have been monitoring her. So they came and raped her, not just raping her, they also killed her. Then there was another gang rape and murder in Edo State, another student too. This case was reported that this girl left her home during the lockdown because everybody came home. She left school, she came home, stayed. But she used to go to the church to read, to study, because she complained of distractions and noise in the family. These two, distractions and noise, were also antisocial behavior, but because they were kind of minor cases, it was not reported. But this girl went to the church to read. Then, and I believe again that the rapists will have been monitoring her movement, and they knew when she would be there, and they knew when people, security men there, raped her, hit her head with fire extinguisher. I learned that she later died. There were so many cases, but these are the ones I can bring out. Now, domestic violence. Not domestic violence, the men now stayed home because no money, no work, everybody was at home. So those of them who have these tendencies to abuse or to batter their wives, of course, they were frustrated because they could not provide food, they had no money. So that also increased their aggression and anger, that they could beat their wives at any slightest provocation. So but not only because they also felt a sense of loss of control over other many aspects of their lives. So they have this belief that they had greater access to those people they felt they could control and abuse at will. So those living with violence, particularly women, they could not, because of the lockdown, they had no alternative but to stay in that environment because of the lockdown, and they suffered. And I'm sure that most of them were unreported. Then the next one is exchange of sex, vandalism. Okay, vandalism. before this lockdown, I've never heard about 1 million boys. But during the lockdown, these boys were, some of them were touts working in the car parks, getting money on daily basis. Some of them were hawkers, some of them were artisans, some of, so, but with the lockdown, no money, no food, hopelessness. So they took to the streets. And in fact, it started in one place. They took to the street to demand or to look for food. So the first group of people that went succeeded. So the thing now spread to so many other places, as if they had an association everywhere. They were there was a video that featured them on Bagada Road. They went to. In fact, there was a woman. I think the woman was either in Apapa or in Snake Island or Banana Island or Ileki. She was crying for help, calling that they were coming to her flat, they were coming to her house. In fact, when they were now approached the gate and they were banging, she kept on calling for help. This is vandalism. And they were vandalizing, not to, they were vandalizing because they were moving around with all manners of dangerous weapons. And if they could meet anybody or they would come to anybody's house and they couldn't get whatever they just destroy whatever they had. They could even kill. Now, the next one is food gangsterism. During the lockdown, no food, no money to even buy food. How many of us had money in the house? Even if you had money in the bank, the restriction could not even allow you to go out to get money. So the government was supposed to provide palliatives, but this was not forthcoming. Some philanthropists and organizations now took it upon themselves. They established what they call food banks, and they were distributing food in certain areas. But because of hunger, people could not wait to their turn. So there was this scramble for food and whatever. They were snatching plates from the distributor. They at times they will destroy the vehicle that brought the food. This was part of the food gangsterism. Now, exchange of sex for money. This particular one happened in Kaduna State. A woman was lodged then and together with her gave her money. And I'm sure maybe because they felt she needed money. But they also gave her money to keep her silent, not to report the molestation on her own daughter. I'm sure it must have happened some other places, but this was the one that was reported. Now, violation or breaches of lockdown policies. This particular one, many people violated. If you remember, at the initial stage, there was this particular woman in a video that went viral. She had a baby. She went because she said she didn't have money at home, and the only place she could make money is to sell her shop. She went to her shop and open it. Then the police or the army people came. They carted away her goods, and they manhandled her. But that is not even the case because I will still discuss such things under police brutality. There was this celebrity, a female celebrity, who was arrested for having a party in her house and together with her spouse. And they were sentenced to community service on paper for 2 weeks. And I think they were ordered to do kind of sensitization program to create awareness about COVID. But another, apart from the fact that they violated to have party, they also made noise, which was antisocial behavior, that the neighbors heard the noise and then reported. And that was how the security agents knew that they were there. Then there was initial time, the lockdown started. Many people thought, oh, they had time to go and jog, and they went onto the street to jog. Some of them were arrested and they were taken to the police station to jump frog, and they stayed there till whenever the police people were satisfied. Then there was this other woman that also left her house and she made a self video. She said she didn't have money. I mean, they had to eat. So she said, okay, that she should go out with her sister in her car to look for where to get ATM to cash money. Then she got to a place where she met some policemen and she asked them, they were the one who directed her to a police station where they had POS. And she went there and collected 10,000. As soon as she came, the same group of policemen collected the 10,000 from her, telling her she had violated the rule, the order, the lockdown order, and took her to police station, kept her there till evening. So she reported. So there were many cases like that. Now, harassment and brutality of police, Nigeria. In fact, there was a report that said that this lockdown was a big business for the agents, for the security officers. Then they were just collecting money, extorting money from people. There was, in fact, it was alleged at the Onitsha Head Bridge that before one person could pass, they were collecting 4,000 naira per passenger. 4,000 naira per passenger. Their harassment, they also harassed so many people. They killed. Human Rights Commission reported that in 8 cases reported to them, there were 18 killings, 18 murders. So you can imagine that. So many people, they harassed them. And there was this case in Lagos that a police officer extorted money from either a motorist or something like that, $110. And I learned the man has been tried. I don't know the end now, whether he has been sentenced or whatever. There's another case in Calabar where police officers, a police officer harassed a medical doctor. That one has been demoted. So there are so many cases. And that was what actually led to NSAS protest. Now, fighting. I've talked about the rooming houses where you have so many people living. In fact, this particular instance I'm going to talk about is not that it was the rooming housing pattern. It was 2 buildings, story buildings. I don't know how many, but they are sharing one common thoroughfare. I don't know what was the fight. 2 women were fighting. Most of you must have seen the video. 2 women fought, and their spouses decided to join in the fight. And these men fought. They fought with any weapon, anything that they laid their hands upon. The report said that these men died few days after, out of the injuries they sustained. And these women are alive today as widows. They sent their husbands to early graves. Their husband who would have been alive today if there were no lockdown, because they might not have been around. Maybe they would have gone for one business or for one social function or the other. But that was how they ended their lives. Now, stealing was very common. Hunger pushed so many people. In fact, there was this particular case that a woman took her children to her neighbor's kitchen. She sat down with her children, brought out the neighbor food, and they were eating. And the neighbor came and caught there. And there were other instances like that. So many things, people going to steal in other people's houses. Now, drug offenses. This one, it could have, I would say it has increased, but there was no report to support that. But from my own observation, particularly all these security houses in people's houses with one miniature window. Watch out, what are they selling there? People dipping their hands and bringing out. They're dipping in money and they're bringing out. There's one around me, and I know that was how people were trooping in and out. And because these were people who were actually recreational users, but no time to move around, so they took to drugs. Then bullying and violence. This one we kept our children within the house, and particularly when it is overcrowded or when other family members return from wherever to join. Some people visited and they were caught up, so they had to stay. So some of the children who have this tendency of bullying developed it, and they were bullying their siblings, and violent cases also rose. But I want to see two video clips that I saw in the social media. One was a student, a secondary school student, who went to school but went late, whether it was a comedy or it was real, but what it means that it portends something that will happen when school is through. So this guy came late, and the female teacher was the one at the gate and closed the gate against him, and he pleaded. The teacher did not oblige. Got angry and started abusing the teacher and asking her, how much are you paid that I can pay you double of that? So you can imagine somebody talking to the teacher like that. Now there was this other case, another case where students, these ones were undergraduate students. These students now sat down. They had exotic cars. It's very expensive. They went and parked in their either vice chancellor's car park or lecturer's car park. And they were there majestically and confidently, as like nobody would challenge us. And they were waiting for anybody who could come and confront them. So those of us who are lecturers, academics, we have to be cautious when they come back to school, when they resume, we should know how to deal with them. Now, sale of children and child trafficking. This is one thing. During this period, so many families, some families, not so many, let me just say some families, some reports, told one of their children to make money to feed the rest of the family. I don't know how they know which child will be a better person in the future. I don't even know. But there was this particular case. A woman and a man went to sell a boy about 24 years in somewhere in Imo State. Then demonstration and protest. You remember at the beginning of this lockdown, when there was no food, there was in some areas no water, there was no power supply, no money. So many people trooped in. This one wasn't just any, if everybody trooped out. No, this was enough, this was enough. People protested that they should give them light, at least to enjoy, that it was so hot, this and that. So these are the antisocial behavior that we have perpetrated during the lockdown. The next slide. The next slide. Now, what would have been the role of social workers? What would have been the role of social workers? Social work, as we know, is a practice-based profession and academic core values and principles. The major thing is that we should promote social justice, protect the vulnerable. So we should work with, support, and take care of most vulnerable sections of the society. The issue here now is that most times when we have this kind of thing, that means humanitarian assistance, the people that are invited are those working with humanitarian agencies. Social workers are not involved and invited. So that are not invited. So that hindered some of the things we should have been doing. And one of the core tasks of social work is the protection of marginalized and vulnerable groups and the promotion of their agency. promotion of their agency, promoting their rights, making them realize that they have the power to defend their rights, that they have the power to make decisions on their own. But this was limited somehow. I'll discuss that in the challenges. Now, social workers should have identified the causes of the antisocial behavior, because it's only when you know the cause that you will now treat. We should also assess the impact of the antisocial behavior on the individual, on the household, and the community. Then during the lockdown, these are social behaviors we have seen. They are opportunistic. And one of the methods of this contextual and opportunistic intervention is situational intervention. So, and what will be the most intervention in situational is to lift the lockdown, provide, and if the lockdown has extended or the COVID did not subside the way it did, the government should have it should have ensured that they provide palliatives, either in form of money or food, to avert frustration. And I want to say something here, although it is in the challenges. The association in this Lagos state, I want to commend you, and I want to commend all those, the chairperson and executives, and all those who participated in distribution of palliatives to people. It was when these things were getting out of hand that somebody raised it, and we now prepared money, and we distributed. And people were reporting those who needed some help, and help was rendered to all of them. So I want to appreciate them. Now the next slide, family therapy, which is a type of psychotherapy, should also have been conducted if we are out to work. It will help to promote communication between family members, because most of these things, apart from those ones that went out, we are within the family to resolve conflicts that were related to antisocial behavior. Then basic case management, that is casework. There's no way we have. So all the methods of the casework or case management, all the principles should have been applied. Then psychosocial support to the victims or survivors of gender-based violence, sexual violence would have been helpful. Now, what were the challenges that prevented social workers to have done what they're supposed to do? Social work profession is not yet professionally recognized in Nigeria. And so officially, social workers were not involved in the frontline management of either victims of this or even the COVID. The people who were on the front line were just the medical team. But I'm glad to say that it is not only in Nigeria that social work is not recognized. In so many other places, and they were having the same challenges we have here in Nigeria. Most times, these agencies, humanitarian agencies that they normally call upon to come and assist, they don't have qualified, trained social workers. In fact, the recent impact assessment I did for an organization here in Lagos, among the 8 staff performing as social workers, only one was qualified, had qualification in social work. So you can see how bad it is. So, but we are not involved, quite all right. The Lagos State chapter, like I have said, participated, and I want to commend them. They did well to do that. Then most organizations and agencies did not carry out their field-based services and activities as people were restricted indoors during the. One of the reports I read, there is this child protection, some child protection agency in Alimosho reported that they received reports of child abuse, but they could not move out because of restrictions. What I'm saying here is Lagos State government or other government gave people they call essential workers. Why didn't they include social workers? They gave them pass or permit whatever so that they can move freely. Why didn't they give social workers? Even the one that the Lagos State chapter did, they had to apply after we have decided to do the distribution or to be involved in palliative distribution. Yeah, we should have been there at the issue as a member of the crisis like that. Now, intervention was also difficult due to restrictions on movements. Regular visits intervene complainants and perpetrators of antisocial behavior, which is a staple part of managing a case, was not an option during the lockdown because of what? Restriction of movement. Then for the victims of gender-based violence and sexual violence, most of the cases were not reported. And even when they were reported, because of the lockdown, then most cases were not were unreported due to lack of available, safe, ethical, and quality response services, and fears of stigmatization, reprisal, and lack of access to appropriate information on seeking help. All because of this lockdown. Otherwise, somehow, somebody would have reported that something happened this way, and social workers, they used to be on call under normal circumstances, and they would go no matter the time. I know Minister of Youth and Social Development. There are a group of people working there, and they're always on call. They will be called, and at any time to go there. And if there was need to remove the person from that environment, that will be done. Shelters will be found. Then clinical management of gender-based violence victims, psychological and psychosocial support, case management were limited or unavailable due to movement restrictions. Then access to safe shelters and legal services was challenging for survivors that require assistance due to lockdown and restrictions. Now, what are the prospects? Do we really have prospects? Yes. The good news is that social workers can now adopt innovative digital technology. In fact, in Sweden and some other countries, they don't do physical visiting. They use electronic tagging to monitor people who were sentenced to community service on paid work. And that is why one person in Sweden can monitor about 200 to 300 people in a day. But when you do physical, there will be challenges. And I'm sure this lockdown in Sweden may not have affected them the way it affected those of us who were using analog. So use of digital technology will go a long way in assisting people, particularly if there will be another lockdown. The second wave of COVID is on now. In some countries now, they are now on their second lockdown. France, some parts of UK and other areas. There are these technologies or these digital technology, devices of digital technology. They are great means of keeping in touch with the victims, family members, and community members to gather evidence. Although it may be uncomfortable interviewing somebody on phone or on WhatsApp or Skype, But however, it will indicate that you at least you are making effort to assist them. Now, conclusion and recommendations. Please, the next slide. So this work has demonstrated that antisocial behavior due to frustration, stress, anxiety, aggression, and whatever. It's also observed that social workers could not carry out their field-based services due to certain challenges. So in view of this, the following are recommended. The next slide. The next slide. The following are recommended. Recommendations. NASoW, the General NASoW, should please, with all sincerity and seriousness, expediting that social work professionalization bill is passed. This issue was discussed yesterday, and I hope and I thank God that the national president is there. He will see how important it is for us to be recognized so that we'll be in the front line in any action during any crisis. Then social workers must serve and protect the most vulnerable people. In the words of Abraham Maslow, we already have a start, we already have capacity, talent, direction, mission, and calling. Therefore, nothing should hold us back from doing our duty. Then it is also critical that the voices of the social workers are heard and their knowledge and skills are added to issuing solutions. Why is this? Because of what I have already said, that during this crisis, it was health workers that were only on front line. Our voices must be heard. The next slide. People should be counseled to think about their behaviors and the impact it will have on other people so that at least they will give consideration to people. But I know that people with antisocial behavior, they don't even consider other people's feelings. And also, we should also at least have tolerance for some of these things so that we can be able to other situations like this. Social workers may use digital technology in future in order to provide professional services to those who may need it, and eventually social workers and social institutions will have to adapt circumstances and respond. Hello, I'm done. Thank you, and God bless for listening to me. I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Agbero, you have the floor, please. Okay. Okay.
Dr. Wana.
Yeah.
Very grateful for this very interesting and educative presentation. And to buttress what you have said during the lockdown, we will remember the diseases that occurred. It seems as if all forms of abuses were unlocked during that time, and it became a free-for-all session for perpetrators. But as social workers, I believe that we need our voices to be heard in our community, in our various communities. We need to be proactive. Let people see that yes, these are, and I believe over time things will definitely change in Nigeria. So next, a question and answer session, and a few questions from the Zoom platform and also the YouTube platform. So I'll hand over to Mr. Olowo I'll call that.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Fagbero.
Mr. Lowo, are
Thank
you
you so.
there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. You can. I can. So thank you so much, ma'am, for the presentation, for the
Okay.
beautiful presentation.
Yes.
So we have some few questions there.
Okay.
The first question is that how can social workers increase their visibility in terms of interventions while we await our bill, as rightly put, right? While we await our bill. This is from Grace.
Okay. Do I answer first?
Yes, ma'am. You can go on, ma'am.
Okay. How can we increase our visibility? Take a cue from what NASoW Lagos chapter has done. We don't have to wait for them. We didn't wait for them. We saw what was happening. And then somebody suggested that we should do something, and we did. And they went to people, though there was no movement, but people reported the needy who were in their areas, and something was sent to them, and they appreciated it. We don't have to wait for anybody. Once you know that you are supposed to do this thing, you do it. And that was what Lagos State chapter did. I hope I've answered that question.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Another question is from Anurotimi. The question is, at what point should social workers make a referral to further treatment?
At what point?
Should social workers make a referral to further treatment?
Okay. Now, when you see a case, I always tell people, you don't waste time to make referral. You listen, the first interview will tell you whether that case falls within the purview of your jurisdiction. If it does not, and even if it does, and that particular client needs some specific or some special therapy, please refer immediately. Don't delay, because it gets some clients frustrated and angry when you delay them and when you know that you cannot, is not within your area of jurisdiction. Okay, so you refer as soon as you realize that it is not your case. Thank you.
Thank you, ma. Another question from our Zoom platform says, please, ma, can you elaborate on the effects of social media on antisocial behavior?
Media and social behavior. Yeah, I told you that there has been a study that shows that watching TV, watching social media, whether it is the violent one, even pornography. That's why we don't want our children to watch pornography in their phones. If you put them into acting, you can see some children having sex with their siblings, some boys having sex with their siblings, because they saw it happen. Not that they didn't know that it should not be done among siblings. So it has great effect. That is why parents must monitor their children, monitor what they are watching. They should buy devices of those things that control what the children should watch at any time. Then when a child, according to the study I have read, watches violent films, there is tendency for that child to develop antisocial behavior. And again, I said that adult conviction, early adult conviction, that is conviction, any adult that has been convicted or arrested for one crime, if you check, according to the study, that person must have watched TV for a long time as a child. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Another question I have here is that how does the sales of children and child trafficking related to to lockdown?
No, let me get that question.
How does sales of children and child trafficking related to lockdown?
How does what? Children. How does what?
Child trafficking related to lockdown.
Child
Trafficking.
trafficking. Okay, I've just told
Yes.
you that during the lockdown, particularly these people that were caught in Imo State, it was hunger. They didn't have money. this man and this woman, they now plan to sell a relation of theirs, took the child away from the parents to go and sell so that they will not make money. And I said also that some parents sold one of their children, either the first to feed the rest or the last to feed the rest. So that is it. So they sold that child. If they were not called, that child would have been taken away. That is child trafficking. It is not only when they go for prostitution or whatever that is child trafficking. Once you have removed that child from the from his or her normal environment and being sold, it is slavery and trafficking. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma. I think those are the okay, one of the gaps. Okay. So this person is asking.
I can see a question here.
Yeah.
Tina asking whether people in the orphanage work. It was not complete.
Okay, she said, I want to know whether people working in orphanage home, are they not social workers? That was our question, ma.
Aha, good. If she's working in an orphanage home, she should assess herself whether she has training. Not all of them have trained social workers. And that is what we are saying. If there is a bill, if there is a law, we now can say that at least for somebody to own an orphanage or an NGO, there must be a social worker. So I don't know, some people are not social workers, but I know that some are my students today. Some people working in orphanages are my students today. They are now studying social work.
All right, ma.
Hold on. Most times people think that social work is a caring role that anybody can do. No, there are trainings that you have to undergo. You have to know the rudiments. You have to know the principles. You have to know the methods. Because let me tell you now, my students who have been on field work in certain agencies, after being taught in the class in social casework, some of them will come back to tell me, ma, that what they saw on the field is not what I taught them. And I now ask them, let them go back and talk to the workers. Are they really trained social workers? Many people are practicing social work without being trained. Social work is not just any, yes, you can help people. Yes, you can provide something for people, but there are principles, values, core values that guide us in our ethics, that guide us in our work. And once these things are not there, just for instance, the particular organization that I told you that I just conducted an impact assessment on, I found out that some of the things they did for their clients were not correct because they did not have that training. They lacked the ethics, they lacked this. I mean, I don't want to go into details there, but I made my recommendation and I'm glad those recommendations are being implemented today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma, for this session. We really appreciate your wealth of experience and wealth of knowledge that you've shared with us today.
Thank you.
NASoW, Nigerian Association of Social Workers, really appreciate your effort at this moment. We really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, man. So I think we can let you be at the background now where we go to the next section. The next section is basically a panel discussion. We want to look at our experienced social workers that have worked as social workers over the years in different spheres of social work, where they are going to discuss with us about their experience.
Please, can I say something before I go?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. You
Can I say something before I go? I want to leave.
Go on, ma'am.
Yeah.
Go on.
Please extend my greetings to
Hello?
my greetings to Um, hello, I'm saying, I'm talking. Extend my greetings
Continue,
to
ma.
Mrs. Omotosho. Hello, extend my greetings to
Continue,
Mrs.
ma. Continue, ma.
Omotosho.
We can hear you, ma.
Yeah, that is all I want to say. My greetings to Mrs. Omotosho. Tell her that I appreciate her
Okay,
and
I believe she can
what she
hear
has
you,
done in the
ma. I
past.
believe,
Yeah, and what she has done in the past. Because I want to leave, I have something
yeah.
else to do. Thank you.
Okay, ma.
Yeah.
Okay, ma. Thank you, ma. So as I was saying, we are going to introduce our panelists where they are going to discuss with us about, on their experience over the years in the practice of social workers and how we can move forward or we can improve in our services to make social work a greater profession in Nigeria. So we have three panelists in our midst today to share their experience with us. They are veteran social workers that we have. The first panelist is Mrs. Foluke and Omotosho, while the second panelist is Ms. Oluwatomi Adeleke, and we have Mr. Adeleke Raimi Olalekan as the top panelist. So we are going to give us a brief uh, uh, citation on our panelists today. So the first person is Mrs. Olufunke Foluke Omotosho. Ms. Foluke Omotosho is a social worker of about 44 decades of practice. She has worked in different capacities in social services delivery of Lagos State government until her retirement recently. She has contributed immensely to social work practices in Lagos State. She had her first degree in counseling and a master's degree in social work both from the Primary University of Ibadan. A dedicated and committed NASoW member and the former national president of Association of Medical Social Workers of Nigeria. Her passion for service delivery is particularly noteworthy. She served meritoriously for 35 years before her retirement. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming Mrs. Omotosho to the panel. And our second panelist is Ms. Oluwatomi Adeleke. Ms. Oluwatomi Adeleke is the CEO and founder of Olive Community Development Initiative, an NGO with its headquarters in Kwara State. She is a passionate, committed, and skilled social worker with extensive experience in designing, implementing, reporting, monitoring, and evaluation of community-based poverty reduction programs. She worked with Kwara State Community and Social Development Agency and a World Bank assisted project as a field level operation officer where she synthesized and mobilized communities on social safety nets, social infrastructure, and facilitated participatory rural appraisals for several communities and groups needs for 7 years before resigning to full-time job with OCDI in 2017. She worked with International Women Communication Center as a field level officer where she supervised, trained, and mentored caregivers in the HIV/AIDS home-based care program. She also worked with New Partnership for African Development Youth as the project secretary where she coordinated HIV/AIDS program in targeted schools in Kwara State. The CEO holds a master's degree in social work and 2 postgraduate diplomas in rural development and environmental management. Ms. Oluwatomi is a member of the board of Civil Society for Cancer Eradication in Nigeria and also the Assistant Secretary General of the Nigerian Association of Social Workers. She is currently running her PhD social work in Robert Gordon University in the UK. I welcome you to the panel, ma. Ms. Oluwatomi.
Thank you, sir.
You are welcome, ma. Then
Thank
our
you, sir.
top panelist for today is Mr. Adeleke Olalekan. He holds BA Education in History in 1992 from the University of Ilorin. Also, a Masters of Social Work in 1998 and a Masters of Education Social Welfare in 2010, both from the University of Ibadan. He's currently ongoing a PhD program at the University of Ibadan. He's a Deputy Director of Medical Social Services, University College Hospital Ibadan, where he's currently serving as the head of Emergency Unit, Medical Social Services Department, UCH Ibadan. Please help me in welcoming Mr. Adeleke to the panel, please. Thank you so much. Mr. Adeleke, I think you can unmute yourself, please. Mr. Montosho, you can unmute yourself, man. I think you can have your video and unmute yourself for today.
Okay, thank you also so much.
Thank you, ma. You are welcome on
Thanks
board.
for having me. Let me unmute my video.
Yes. Mr. Adeleke, are you on, please?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, ma.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir. We can hear you, sir. We can hear you, sir. You're
I'm very
welcome.
happy to hear your voice, ma. Good to hear your voice, ma. You are most welcome.
So let's. Okay. Thank you so much. We are welcome on board. I'm very honored to have you all on board, and I'm very honored because three of you are my leaders in the profession. Mrs. Omotosho was the one that actually employed me into the Lagos State government, and Mr. Adeleke is my teacher at the University College Hospital Ibadan. So I'm really honored to have you on board, and you are basically here for us to learn about your experience and to learn from the wealth of experience that you all have in the practice of social work over the years. So I'm going to start with Mrs. Omotosho to give us a brief introduction on her experience over the years that she has practiced as social work in different field over the years in social work practice. You have the floor, ma.
Thank you so much. Thank you all so much. It was indeed a journey, and it's a journey of life. There is no better profession on the face of the earth than social work. Wherever you find yourself, whether as an accountant, as a lawyer, as a doctor, better look for how you are going to get a social worker into your life. This is a profession I enjoyed over the years. And any of the people that came in through me one way or the other will remember one thing I always tell them. There is no money in social work. That is why it is a profession that you must have a passion for before you can belong into it. If it is not a calling on your life, my brothers, my sisters, check yourself again and just get out of it. Your life, you will enjoy every moment of it, even when there's no money in your pockets. If you are looking for big money, don't come into social work. But if you are looking for things that money cannot buy, then hang on there. Hang on to social work. My experience over the years has taught me patience. Whatever you are looking for in life, patience. And to be able to And to be able to do that gloriously well, you must be willing and be ready to be a listener first. You must be willing, you must be ready to be a patient listener. I saw one posting on the platform for the Lagos State chapter this morning, and it touched my soul. It says a psychologist will tell you, can this glass be full? A social worker will ask you if you think you'll be able to make that glass full, and how can you get to making that glass full? That is really, really deep. If you don't, if you have not seen that post, please go and check it out. That is all social work is about. Selfless service. Service to humanity.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate your good introduction, and it's a very passionate introduction to this panel discussion. Please, for those who are on the chat box and question and answer box, please start asking questions. This is an interactive section, and we are still going to give some people opportunity to also make their contribution at this stage. So I will go over to Mr. Adeleke, sir. Can you hear me, sir? Hello? Mr. Adeleke, sir. Hello? Okay, let me go to Ms. Oluwatoni. You can mute yourself, Ms. Oluwatoni.
Can I mute myself? Can I mute myself so as not to interrupt others?
Yes, you can mute yourself for now, ma. Yes. So, Ms. Oluwatoni,
yes.
you understand.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now, sir. We'll come back to you later, sir. We'll come back to you later, sir. So, Ms. Oluwatoni, ma.
Yes, sir.
You have been a community social worker for over the years, and like what we know that as a community social worker, you are most close to the people, even more than other field of social worker, because you go right into the community to feel the pulse of the people in the community. And when we talk of poverty, you are like the first set of people that will see what poverty looks like. So over the years, especially practicing in Nigeria, what has been your experience in the practice of this social work and elevating people out of poverty in the communities you have worked so far?
Thank you very much. Over the years, working with Kwara State Community and Social Development as an operation officer, I normally travel to different communities and to assess the needs of communities. For example, if the government is bringing a project to a particular community, or there's a certain fund allocated for a community, and imagine if you as a social worker get to that community and there are a lot of people struggling for that funds. For example, the project I worked with, each community was entitled to 10 million for any project they want to do. And now when you get to the community, it becomes a struggle between the men, the women, the children, even people with disabilities. Everybody wants their needs to be well taken care of. As a social worker, what do you do? How do we solve this? The community undergoes a needs assessment, and this needs assessment is done in such a way that it is participatory, and everybody brings out their needs. Everybody says their needs, and at the end of the day, there is a kind of voting. The needs that rank first is normally given the priority. But despite that, in some communities, we still find out that, maybe some leaders in the community, they try to override it, they try to influence it. And at the end of the day, the vulnerable in the community, their needs are not really met. So it's really a sad thing. But as a social worker, when one experiences a lot of this, I experience it all the time. And whenever I'm there, I always try to make sure that the needs of the vulnerable people are met. It's not as if there is no funds sometimes from the government or donors, but the voiceless are not, their voices are not being heard. But we as social workers, I mean, wherever we go and we see this kind of situation, we are meant to make the voices of the vulnerable known so that their needs will be met. That is one in terms of when it comes to in terms of social infrastructure. When it comes to the issue of HIV, AIDS, and gender-based violence that we are all talking about now, as a social worker, a lot of cases are being reported in the organization I work. A lot of people come with different cases, and I found out that most of these cases is either that the women or even the perpetrators, they are ignorant of the law. They don't know what the law says. Now, Kwara State just domesticated the VAP Act. So, I mean, we are really using that now. But a lot of people don't know this law, and that's why they experience what they experience. But as social workers, we need to have full knowledge of what the law says, what we are working on. And when we let the people, the perpetrators, or even the clients know all this, I mean, they will feel relieved. Also, there are a lot of opportunities. I found out that even since my youth service days till my community work, a lot of opportunities exist that community people don't even know about. Okay, there's this program, there's this empowerment program. They'll say, oh, they didn't hear about it. Do you know when they were doing the like the register for this conditional cash transfer in some communities, people said, oh, they want to use them for rituals. So they did not allow their names to be written down. Now they are giving those people support, and they are like, oh, I didn't know when they do it. So we as social workers, I mean, we have a lot of things to do to enlighten, to sensitize the public, to create awareness, and that has been my experience so far. A lot of people are ignorant about what exists, what opportunities, services exist, and we as social workers are supposed to be the voice of the voiceless. And that has been my experience. That has been what I've been doing all this while. Thank you.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for the lesson you just gave us. We really appreciate you. And now I will go to Mr. Adeleke, sir. Sir.
I'm with you.
Okay, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
The hospital environment has always been a highly competitive environment, and it is also an intellectually demanding environment because you have a multidisciplinary set of professionals that works in it. So how can a social worker, or based on your own experience, how have you been able to cope over the years to survive this kind of environment in practice?
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be with you online. Working in the health sector is not really amala and ewedu, as people will say. You pinpointed a fact that it is an environment of different specialists. That's what we call multidisciplinary.
Yes.
And when you work in this kind of environment, it is very, very demanding. It is very, very challenging. In fact, it is inexhaustive. Inexhaustive in the fact that you will be coming into contact with different species of problems that somehow might become peculiar and insurmountable. But one thing that is very key is the knowledge you have acquired, the knowledge in the class before you even join the service. As a young professional, I've just put in 20, 21 years in service. I'm still learning. We're talking about 2 decades, but I'm still learning. And what is very germane here is that working in hospital has taught you must always look for more knowledge. Each day gives hope with such an worker. So a case will be referred to you like as you are aware when you are with us. I always emphasize that we have three categories of head injuries: mild, moderate, and severe. And for the severe, that patient is going to be totally unconscious. Being unconscious does not mean that you don't have any intervention to carry out on him. In fact, neurosurgeon will say, Mr. Leke, do something for us, as if you are a magician. So what they are expecting you is to be creative, is to do something out of nothing, is to do something from an unusual way. But in economics, they will say human wants are insatiable. Your knowledge as a social worker in clinical setting is going to be insatiable. You keep on needing knowledge. Like my colleague said, the aspect of law. If you have a patient who happens to be from a Jehovah Witness, and the child is anemic, let's say 10% PCV, and require transfusion, what are you going to do? The religious faith says we don't take blood. Are you going to fold your hands? You are not going to fold your hands. What are you going to do? You need to make recourse to the law. What does the law say about the right of individual? Every child has right to life. Likewise, yourself, that you are adult, you have right to life. So you have to make recourse to what does the law say? The law says the father has the fatherhood of this child, does not mean he can inhibit the health assessment of this patient. Then you need to talk to the attorney, who will come with the power and remove the power that the father has as the father and first it on the state. And with that patient will be what? Transfused, and life goes what? Goes on. So working in a clinical environment has been very demanding and challenging. But what I can tell you is also that it is very, very interesting and enjoyable. It has taught me one thing, which is very sacrosanct and very key in my life, that no matter how big or small you are not an island unto yourself. So which means you must always be very. Where we see somebody who has deputed meningioma and is a millionaire, but being a millionaire, he cannot use his money to take care of this disease, because disease does not respect anybody. Either you have money or you don't have money, it will still what? Afflict you. So whatever condition you find yourself, you still need to be very. Yes, what your feasibility will rest so much on what? On the knowledge you have, the authority you have, and the power you have to influence decision that is very, very critical in the life of your client. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate your wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much. So we'll go to Mr. Montosho for the next question, please.
Are you
Yes,
there?
sir, we can hear you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Mr. Montosho, you are on, ma. Mr. Montosho, please.
Hello.
Yes, ma.
Oh, I'm here.
Okay, ma. So the next question we have for you, ma. You being worked in almost every specialty in social work. You've worked in medical, you've worked in family, you've worked with social welfare, almost all the field in social work before you retire. So what do you think about the interagency collaborations, social welfare agency in this case, the collaboration between social welfare agents, social work agencies in terms of handling cases and referral? What is it? A good collaboration, or how do you think we can improve in such collaboration?
All I will say is just like it is in the other spheres of life and in the rest of the world. It's usually better when this profession is recognized as it should be. If not, for instance, every hospital where I presently am knows that they cannot operate without a social worker. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, ma'am.
So when the acceptance of the profession comes, it comes without saying. Even ordinary organizations, I mean, what do you call them? These private enterprises,
Yeah.
government, any government MDA will want to employ a social worker because a social worker will be the heart of their organization. The social worker will be their window to the rest of the agencies they need to collaborate with. But please, I want to appeal to us, as little as it may be right now in Lagos State and in Nigeria as in general, please help us to make our worth known wherever you find yourself. I could remember when I first got to the hospital, even some of our doctors, I mean, I don't mean fresh or residents, or I mean the MDs. At least you know the position you would have gotten into before you become an MD. Some of them did not know who social workers were. And that was one of my gaining points, because I was like, wow, you want to tell me as a doctor, you don't know who a social worker should be in your hospital? You need them. I started telling them what benefits will come even to their hospital having a social worker on board. What is my challenge here? My challenge is to you, and you, my brothers and sisters that are looking at me, that have chosen social work as your profession. Because wherever you find yourself, you'll be able to bring out the essence of having a social worker in all. My advocate before I left was in every MDA, be it judiciary, be it finance, be it whatever MDA, send a social worker there. Things will never be the same in those cases. Why did I advocate that? Because a social worker will not only look at what the output for the MDA is going to be, but the well-being of even the staff, but the well-being of the whole MDA, and much more for collaboration between the MDA. So that if I need anything that has to do with finance, that has to do with, I'm sorry, I've lost most of the MDAs off my head now. The days of exams are over. It makes it easier for social workers to collaborate for the sake of that individual, of that group, of that family that we are striving to help, that we are trying to get the social services for, that we are trying to get the community resources for. So can I overemphasize the need for working interagency? Look at school social work, for example. When I got there, I started making, what do you call them now? Oh, those are the zones.
Okay.
Somebody wants
they
to.
They are now peers. Tutor generals.
The permanent secretaries of the zones, the TGPS.
Tutor generals.
Thank you. I'm sorry, it's all. I started helping the tutor generals to understand why they need social workers in their districts. Before you know it, everybody is like clamoring. And Mr. Mokosho, this we will need. The same thing happened with the medical sector. Every hospital now wanted, they will even come and tell me their Christmas gifts are bribes to me. Oh, let me confess to you. Their Christmas gifts were bribes to me then that, Mama, don't take this person away. She's doing very well. Or don't take this person away. He's doing very well. Or some will come, please, we need more social workers.
Okay.
Those days, I found it difficult rotating my officers because some officers don't want to live where they are. Social work is generic in nature, although it has its specialties. Go around first before you specialize. The first set of social workers that came into medical social work, they could remember very well. I gave them a compulsory rotation of about 3 months or so, or 6 months, I can't remember very well now. But they will forever be grateful that they did, because they went as far as Majidon to see what is happening in rehabilitation. They went as far as motherless baby soul to know what is happening with adoption and whatever. They went as far as correctional centers to know what it is about children with delinquent behaviors. They went as far as which other places now. But the people who did not know, my bosses then, that did not know the essence of these things, put a stop to it. But that first set, go and check them out today. Oh, God bless you, Mrs. Silifa, familiarization talk. Emma Bino, terminologies yet in I'm sorry, I can't but help, putting in all these
Thank you so much, ma. Yeah, thank you so much, ma. Really appreciate it. So let me go to Mr. Aleleke before we go. Hello, sir. Mr. Aleleke. Hello. Mr. Aleleke. I don't think. Okay. Is he on? Mr. Aleleke.
I don't think he's on, please.
Okay. Mrs. Oluwatomi.
Okay.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, one thing that we've seen so far concerning the community social work practice is that most social workers don't get into community practice. We have more in the social welfare, we have more in the medical social practice. But when it comes to social community practice, we have so many few social workers in this aspect. So I want to ask, what is your advice for upcoming social workers to get into this terrain of practice?
Okay, thank you. Like you said, we don't have many social workers there, maybe because there are a lot of other disciplines, a lot of other professionals in the community, even at the local government level. You see a lot of professionals and you see social workers there, and it's like they don't really know what they are supposed to do. So my advice is for young social workers who wants to go into community practice is to even while in school during their internship or IT, they can go to an organization that has a lot of experience in community practice, so that they can know what obtains in the community, what happens in the community, what they are supposed to do, what they are expected to do, so that they can develop their interest and develop their passion. A lot of students from Unilorin come to my organization for internship, and when they come, they always say, oh, they want to go to the community, they want to experience community, they want this and that. And we try on our own part. We take them into the community, and when they get to the community and see what is happening, oh, A lot of them make up their mind, oh, I want to focus on this, I want to do this, I want to do that. For example, we went to a particular community and we're talking about FGM, and can you imagine that the women were saying, no, they do it, all of them, they've done it for them and they must continue to do it, that it's only the government that can tell them to stop. So you see, there is a lot of things to do for social workers in the community, but maybe because people don't, maybe because other people have taken over what we are supposed to do, or other people are doing it, and our own, maybe we are not really making our own contributions known. So like you said, what I we advise the young ones is to be focused on what they want to do. If they are interested in community practice, they should be focused and really know what course they want to pursue in the communities. And my advice to social workers working at the local government, most especially those working at the local government, they are the ones that have a lot of work to do in the community. From my interaction with some of them in one state one time, I found out that many of them don't even know what to do. Many of them are not abreast of what is happening globally, even in Nigeria. So social workers are supposed to always be informed. They are supposed to always learn, to want to know what is happening globally, so that all these things, all the information happening, what is happening in Nigeria, they are the ones that are supposed to be disseminating this information to the community. Community work is very interesting, and you see a lot of community people appreciating you because they don't see many people coming to them, and when they see you as a social worker, they pray for you, they are so happy, they smile, even if you've not brought the solution to their problem, but for just them seeing you, talking to them about their problem and linking them up with opportunities, they are always very happy. So I encourage upcoming social workers that want to work in the community, they should hold on to their dreams and try and read up more on what they want to do in the community, and try and partner with an NGO or any government agency that has project, that has things doing in the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Mr. Oluwatobi, please, our viewers would love to see your pictures. You and
My
Mr.
face.
Yes,
Okay.
they are really sending in message. They want to see
Okay,
those
okay,
who
okay.
are the veterans in the profession that are advising them. Thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
thank
Yeleke,
you.
sir.
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. As we all know
Always.
that social work is an helping profession. And for you to be a social worker, there are some qualities in helping, the quality of a helper that you have to possess as a social worker. Please, can you enlighten us on those qualities that are expected of a social worker, sir?
Yes, thank you very much. Enumerating qualities a social worker should possess will take the whole day, because a lot of things are expected of a social worker. Yes. Let me just make it conspicuous. One, you must be creative. That's very important, because when they refer social problems to you, they refer a client to you has social problem. If the problem is something that can solve, they won't refer. It's because it's beyond their ability. That's why they have refer. If the problem is something the client himself can solve, they won't send him to you. So your creativity is going to assist you to do that. Then secondly, a social worker must have ability of critical thinking. What do I mean? Thinking out of the box, thinking in a way that you do things in an unusual way, in a way that people have not thought about it, and it is a way that is going to assist you in solving it. Then you must also possess ability of problem solving. What do I mean? A problem is meant to be solved once it is on your table. How do you now handle it? Like Professor Arinyeguna said yesterday, if it is so massive, you can start by personalizing that problem, by taking it bit by bit until you dissolve the whole problem. Then you should also be a good manager of human person. In the helping qualities, they call something desire to help. You must be willing to assist your client. They say you must also have concern for the other. If you don't have concern for your client, how can you help? You cannot help somebody whom you do not have concern for. You must also have that concern for the person. Then you must always be willing then you must be able to observe yourself. I have my own limitations, which must not intervene or interact or inhibit the ability to assist my client. Then there should be empathy from my own hand. I must possess that quality that I put myself in position of my client to feel how he's feeling, so that I will not block my own intellect to see how I can forge ahead with his problem, holding him in hand so that next time he's not going to depend on me. There are so many things we can talk about these qualities that have to do with what a social worker should possess in order to forge ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So I think at this stage we will leave. We open the discussion channel to 1 or 2 people to have. If you have a contribution or a question for our panelists, you can raise up your hand, and if it is part of the panelists that can speak, I think the line is open. Thank you. Is there anyone that have any contribution? Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir, Mr. Adeleke.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Yes,
we can
I want
hear
to
you.
make contribution. Yes, I want to make a contribution regarding referral that was mentioned when Dr. Iwana was presenting.
Okay.
Are you there?
We can hear you, sir. Continue, sir.
Hello.
But continue,
Yes.
sir. We would love to have your video too, sir.
System is one of the 6 key basic systems in social work, and it has to do social practice. What is ending? And have worked together and you have fully emphasize if the
Hello, your line is breaking, sir. Mr. Adeleke, your line is breaking. I think we lost him.
There's a question for Mrs. Omoto Show. I don't know if you have seen it in the chat
You
box.
can read it
but
out.
question- Okay, Ma, this is for Mrs. Omoto Show. Can you please highlight all the major challenges you faced?
You can hold on, sir.
Mr.
Mr.
Adeleke
Adeleke,
is
you
back.
can hold on. You can hold on, sir.
Hello.
Just a few minutes.
Okay. Shall you hold on?
Yes, Ma.
Can I hold on?
Yes.
Have you
Can
seen
you
the
hear me?
question, Ma? The
Can you hear
challenges
me?
you faced during the
You can hear
35
me?
years servitude
You can hear you,
and
Mr.
how you were
Adeleke.
able to overcome
Okay.
them, please.
Yes. That is the first factor that you can revert. The second factor that can assist you to revert.
Hello, sir.
If you are battling with a case and your ability cannot summon the problem of your person who will be able to handle the case properly. Are you with me?
Yeah, with you, sir.
And the last aspect that can also assist you to revert. If you are going on vacation, you won't go with your case to your vacation. So you need to revert that case to another person who will take over the case after you might have left for your annual vacation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Adeleke, you can continue.
The question says that, can you tell us some of the experience or some of the challenges you faced during your 35 years servitude, and how were you able to overcome them? Briefly, Ma.
Thank you so much. Definitely, life is all about challenges. There are no bed of roses. The greatest challenges came from within. Especially, and that is why you must not mind whatever comes your way when you need to fight the cause of the people. Especially when you are innovative, which I want to encourage all of you to please be innovative. Innovative in the sense that you have just been posted to a particular section. Why don't you please go on the internet, go everywhere, read books to know more about that field that you have just been posted into. As such, some of your bosses who have not really been out, outward looking, may find it difficult interacting with you. At times they may say, oh, she's gone crazy again. But when you know what you are doing, when you know your onions and you are able to pick it, then you'll be able to stand the test of time. So expect challenges both from within and without. Without, at times, maybe even from your clients. I had troubles with my clients reporting me to my bosses because I did not dance the dance, because I did not dance to their tune. Do you understand it? Because some people know. Who knows. You know the way my country works. So even when you are trying to do the things in the right way, there will be challenges with some of the clients who feel you should bend the rules. But I want to assure you of one thing. Please be firm. Prayerfully be firm. Prayerfully ask for wisdom. Prayerfully do all you need to do. Whether you are a Muslim, everybody that interacts with me knows me very well. I'm not particular about religion. What I'm particular about is the fear of the Most High God. The fear of the Most High God. When you have the fear of God, you'll be able to serve humanity as creatures of the Most High God. So whenever you are even asked to bend the rules, please search your conscience first. Is it in the best interest of the clients? Is it in the best interest of the job? Is it in the best interest of the profession? Because when you go, the profession remains. When you leave, the profession remains. So the choice is yours. So those challenges were, from right, left, and center over the years. But what kept me was the fear of God. The Lord help each and every one of you.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ma. Mr. Lowell, because of time, we might not be able to take any more questions, but the survey, most people are saying that it is not going through. I think we should attend to that so we can have them fill. And yes, we should call the national president or African region to give us the closing remarks, because I'm sure our time is fast spent. If we could wait here, we're going to talk on and keep going. But it's been a wonderful conference. I must tell you, I have learned a lot, and I'm ready to be a proud social worker to give my best. So let's call on the African region national president to give us the closing remarks in person of Miriam Morizo. Please, you're welcome, sir.
I sincerely wish we will not end this. I'm happy seeing all of you and interacting with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much for inviting me to be part of this occasion. As Africa, we have been following the conference over the 3 days. I have also been briefed by Joachim on the opening remarks that he gave. We are proud Africans. We are from the land of the sun, but most importantly, we are social workers. Following the conversations, we also were discussing issues that related not only to COVID, but also pertinent issues relating to gender-based violence, which are current, and we are going through the 16 days of activism. The discussions that were ongoing, which I was following today, were refreshing, making me a proud social worker and to be proud to be part of Africa and to be part of Nigeria. A theme that resonated through the discussion related to the need for continuous professional development and education. Let me expand on this theme and say it is important for us as social workers to continuously develop ourselves and continuously have a quest for new information and learn new things. How can we do this? Conferences like this one are one such important way of continuously developing ourselves, sharpening our skills, interrogating each other, and interrogating different views and opinions and interventions. I am glad that there were speakers with vast experiences, and they were willing to be sharing these experiences with upcoming social workers and those who have just joined in the profession. Let me congratulate the Nigerian Association. Let me congratulate the president. Let me congratulate the executive and all those people that participated, and most importantly, people who worked to have this occasion a success. It is not easy, we all know. For success has many fathers and failures is an orphan. So I'm happy to say, as Nigeria, I am proud to be an African. I am proud to be part of you because this is a success, not only for Nigeria, but for Africa. With these words, I would like to thank you and also to congratulate you for this conference. Thank you very much. Best wishes, Nigeria. Thank you from Africa. I thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Olowo, over to you as we round up. The meeting has officially ended with the closing remarks. Please let's endeavor to fill the form, the third day survey form. Let's try to fill it. And if you still have any challenge, kindly contact us, send us an email, and do let us know. It's been a wonderful conference. In fact, it's been a wonderful one.
Thank you so much, everyone, for the event. We really appreciate you. We appreciate our panelists. We appreciate our presenters for over the 3 days so far. So we are going to invite the chairman of the planning committee, Mr. Sholubi Michael, to give a thank you message to our people. Thank you so much. Mr. Sholubi, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Olowo. Foremost, I want to use this opportunity to thank the IFSW, particularly the African region, for their support all this while. We appreciate it. I also want to use this opportunity to say thank you to our academicians, members of NASoW. I also will not forget members of NASoW and the attendees. Also, we also want to thank the participants at the panel discussion. It's been very wonderful. 3 good days of learning, of exchanging knowledge, of also knowing each other. It is awesome. And I wish we could just have a repeat very soon. So we are very appreciative of each and every one of us. And particularly not forgetting the members of the 2020 virtual committee. We have some of them at the back room, people like AY, Lamide, Tessie, and so on. We appreciate all your contributions, and we are very, very, very much glad to say you have done a lot. All what we have been saying is that all hands needs to be on deck, just as we have jointly and successfully conducted this virtual conference. It means that we all, as social workers, we need to combine together to make social work great in Nigeria and also in Africa. Once again, I want to thank everybody. And as we say in social work, we can and we surely can do it. So, hoping to see each and every one of us physically next year at the physical conference, and possibly we might have a virtual one before the physical. But for now, it's a big thank you to each and every one, the participants, the attendees, the facilitators, the speakers, just everybody. We are very grateful for this opportunity. And as we say also, we say, NASoW, service to humanity, NASoW. So,
Thank you
bye
so
for
much.
now.
Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate it. And I can see from the feelers we are getting, people really appreciate this conference from what we have done, and hope we continue in this light. So now we have the Deputy National President, Mr. Al-Azan Bichi, the Deputy National President of Nigeria Association of Social Workers, to give his announcement and closing. Mr. Bichi, sir, you are on, sir.
Good evening, all the IFSW President Africa region, the National President NASoW, and other NEC members here present, the Chairperson Lagos State Chapter of NASoW, and together with her team. This is a very, very awesome conference that is virtual, that took place virtually. All things have been said, but the little I will add is social work. And to me, I keep on telling people like I that is practicing in hospitals that we start where or we do where that's social. So we are grateful to all the panelists, Mrs. Omoto Shaw, Adelekan, Mrs. Tony, the speaker from Dr. Chungwe, Professor Anyaguna, T.D. Tade, Dr. Fang from Plateau. In fact, to everybody that contributed. But most importantly, the Lagos State chapter for organizing this August occasion. Well done, well done, well done, and God bless you. And at this juncture, I will announce the end of this virtual conference on behalf of the National President, Nigeria Association of Social Workers. Thank you very much. God bless you all.